Good evening on a Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. I have hit launch, I've hit record, and we are good to go. On this evening, the 23rd day of July, 2024, there is so much that is going to happen tonight. Topically, the title of the show really doesn't even scratch the surface. I don't even know why I should have come up with something a little bit more cheeky and generalized, because there's just so much. And really what I wanted to do is, I'm not going to fight the news cycle right now. I'm not going to fight it. I'd love to do take some opportunities to have a little bit of a break from the madness. I guess Friday night would be a good one like that when Matt and Fleckus are in. We got two great guests coming up starting, or I should say two sets of guests coming up starting tomorrow. Got tomorrow night. We got Thursday. And we have Friday. As for tonight, I really want to just open up the lines and have your thoughts come through on any number of things. And I have plenty of subject matter over here to help us along. But it's just one of those things where we knew that this was going to be a year that was going to be dictated by, we were going to follow the path. We were going to go with the flow. It's becoming a little bit more of a raging river rapids now. It's only the end of July, but hell, we're getting closer. It's 3 months, right? 3 months. I just hope that we get a couple of more heat waves. Low humidity heat waves. I can go for that. I think that summer peaks way too soon with the 4th of July. It peaks way too soon. And we don't go away on summers. Very rarely do we go away for, a summer vacation or anything like that. It's usually sometime in the spring, a couple of days in the fall, and then just really enjoying all the holidays that come after that. But damn tonight, and a lot of nights coming up. Just going to have to see where the world takes us. And sometimes the best thing you can do is just open up the lines and give people an opportunity to spill. Because that in itself just might be really therapeutic and necessary. Thank you to my sponsor, BlueMonsterPrep.com, because if you're following along with the news, there is no reason why you shouldn't be preparing your family for God knows what, natural or unnatural. Okay? You saw this hydrothermal explosion over there at Yellowstone, blew up a boardwalk or something like that. It's great. Here we go. Been talking about Yellowstone for a long time. Is that going to be it? Is Yellowstone going to be sorry, we can't do an election right now. Super volcano just blew up. We'll get to that in just a second. Either way, go to BlueMonsterPrep.com. Start small. Get some first aid. Make sure that you have the water filtration, communication, any of your food that you need. A couple of weeks of food at the house. A couple of months of food at your fallback location if you have one. Who the hell knows? Make sure that the little things, like your go bag, is completely well balanced. You know what you're doing. Everything right down to the road atlas. I don't know if BlueMonsterPrep.com sells road atlases, but still, they got everything else. Go ahead, please, ladies and gentlemen, and do little things from now until the end of the year. Because honestly, as crazy as it might get this year, it's really the tail end of winter 2025. That's January, pretty much first quarter of 2025 into spring. That could be really big. And at least that's what people have been telling us for a couple of years now. Frank, 2024 is going to be nuts, but watch out for early spring, late winter 2025. Is that all right? You got it. You got it, Jobin. All right, so then here's what we're going to be doing. We're going to go into we haven't done a grab bag in a while. That's one thing we can do tonight. How's that sound? All right, first thing up in the grab bag. Where the hell is it? Oh, here, I told you the explosion at Yellowstone. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. This is something else. It was in Biscuit Basin. Any of you out there ever been to Biscuit Basin? I'm sure. Some of you probably live close by. Yellowstone National Park reported a hydrothermal explosion at the Biscuit Basin at Yellowstone National Park. Videos of the explosion show a hydrothermal explosion at the Biscuit Basin, which caused tourists to run in panic. One video filmed by a park visitor shows a sizable dark explosion, causing debris to fly over 100 feet in the air. Yeah, that's the thing here. I've never seen a geyser in real life, but I've seen plenty of video, and I've just never seen anything this dark. Look at that thing. And everybody's running. Obviously, it was an explosion of earth. I have to imagine that's mostly rock and dirt, because what the hell else? Black smoke, maybe, from somewhere that's burning under coal. I don't know what the geological situation over there is, but I've just never seen anything like that in all my years of looking at footage of geysers. I got to go out there. Maybe maybe now's not the time. Maybe we should let Yellowstone just kind of get this out of its system, if that's exactly what's going to happen at all. All right, here's an interesting update of many from the botched assassination attempt about 10 days ago now. Here it is. Mobile data reveals someone who regularly visited Thomas Crook's home and work also visited a building in Washington, D.C. near FBI offices. I mean, what? That's on top of the fact that, have you guys seen some of the POV footage from the window inside of the room, inside of the building upon which he was on the roof, but inside the building that was occupied by law enforcement, whatever the hell, I think Secret Service. It was a staging area after all. There was camera footage, point of view, from one of the windows of the top floor of that building that looked out onto the roof. They must have been looking right at him. He was right. I mean, this is, we'll get into a little bit into the Cheadle resignation, which is all just ridiculous. She served her purpose. Now she can go on a little bit of a vacation before she's turned into an analyst somewhere, or she's given a nice position with a good salary and a pension that is out of public eye. But that's what we're looking at here. All right, listen to this. Who visited Thomas Crook's home before he attempted to assassinate President Trump? Mobile ad data analysis reveals someone who regularly visited Crook's Pennsylvania home also visited a building in D.C. near an FBI office. Now, you can say, if you're playing devil's advocate, that perhaps this was somebody that was close to Crook's, that loved him very much and cared for him. And when they realized that he was beyond any kind of being reached, he went to the FBI to say, hey, you need to know about this. At which time the FBI said, thanks for the tidbit, my friend. And then, of course, wipe their ass with the information. The Oversight Project identified 9 devices linked to ADIDs that were located at Crook's home and work within the last year. Per the Heritage Foundation's Oversight Project, we, quote, found the assassin's connections through our in-depth analysis of mobile ad data to track movements of Crooks and his associates, end quote. To do this, quote, we tracked devices that regularly visited both Crook's home and a place of work and followed them. Someone who regularly visited Crook's home and work also visited a building in Washington, D.C., located in Gallery Place. This is in the same vicinity of the FBI office on June 26, 2023. So whose device is this? And, of course, we're talking about encryption. Then again, if you're living in this world, I mean, everybody encrypts, at least to some degree. And even if it's not good enough, at least it gives you some peace of mind. But there you have it. There's that. Okay, another little one for you. You tell me the implications of that one. You call on in. Anything else? Have you guys been picking up the investigation personally that you really want to hammer something home? Call in on it. 914-200-0269. That's going to be... It's wide open for everybody. Oddity Central, man who lived in pain for 9 years had a glass shard embedded in his liver. A Russian man who had experienced pain and discomfort under his ribs for the last 9 years was shocked to discover that he had a 9-centimeter glass shard embedded in his liver. The unnamed man told doctors at Kirov Regional Clinical Hospital in Russia he had a long experienced sharp pain and discomfort in his right side under his ribs, but he never bothered getting it checked out. He said he had no idea how it got there. He has no history of trauma, nor could he remember an incident where a sharp object could have entered his body. After operating on the man laparoscopically, surgeons removed a 9-centimeter long glass shard from his liver. We were amazed when we saw a piece of glass measuring 88 by 15 by 7 millimeters with sharp edges on the endoscopic monitor. So there you have it. Obviously, he forgot something. He forgot something. Or this is alien. It's an alien implant. I would love to talk to somebody about alien implants one day. Here's another one for you. A 24-year-old mukbang streamer. You know all about the mukbang, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, it's dirty. It's just not that kind of dirty. I know what it sounds like. Mukbang is when you have these disgusting blobs, and sometimes they're somewhat thin as well too. They'll sit down in front of an incredible amount of food, and they will eat it. It's all within the ASMR spectrum. You know, the people who are very weird like that. They just need to hear somebody squish through a banana to be able to get through the day for some reason. It's so therapeutic. Fuck. 24-year-old mukbang streamer dies live on stream due to, guess what? Overeating. You never would have guessed that one. Pan Zhaoting, a 24-year-old Chinese streamer specializing in mukbang, that's eating large quantities of food, recently died during her live stream due to consuming too much food. China cracked down on mukbang streams and videos in 2020 in a bid to reduce overeating and shameful food waste, with offenders risking fines up to 10,000 yuan, that's about $1,400. However, mukbang streams are still incredibly popular in the Asian country, with thousands of people putting their lives at risk by stuffing their faces with insane amounts of food for views. One such streamer was Pan Zhaoting, a former waitress turned professional mukbanger who lost her life early this month during one of her streams after her body just gave out due to overeating. The autopsy showed that her stomach was filled with undigested food and her abdomen was severely deformed. Must have been like that scene from Jaws when they opened up the tiger shark. Probably found a bumper in there as well, a license plate or something. Ridiculous. What I mean, this is just... If you know somebody going down that path, just stop them. Stop them. And speaking of streaming and all this stuff, I saw what is starting to bubble up now with MrBeast. At least starting with that Chris Tyson character. You know, maybe you don't know MrBeast if you're of the older generation, but pretty much one of the biggest YouTubers on the planet, and is just known for putting together incredibly expensive stunts and giveaways and all that stuff. Started off as just a little tiny, Call of Duty streamer, and now it's like over 300 million subscribers. Anyway, one of the recurring characters on his show, Chris Tyson, left his family to become a woman, to pretend to be a woman. So went down the transgender path, left his wife and kid, and is now stepping away from MrBeast altogether because it is being uncovered that he was messaging underage boys and grooming them. Now, I didn't see any of the messages or anything else like that. It's pretty straightforward what the hell, how this is being reported, though. Now, I mean, listen, stereotypes exist for a reason, friends. But here is and the reason why I'm gonna take a look at this and keep following this one is because some people are saying, oh, if you think that Jimmy, MrBeast, didn't know, you got another thing coming. And in new media, there's nothing bigger. This is like upper echelon of that mountain of new media, even though they're not he's not really into like what we do, but it's a landscape that dwarfs old school entertainment delivery. And this guy, Chris Tyson, who wants to be known as Ava now, said, I would like to apologize for any of my past behavior or comments. If I hurt or offended anybody, it was not my intent. I know you're just following the urge between your loins. Seeing recent events, we've mutually decided it's best I permanently step away from all things MrBeast, social media, and focus on my family and your mental health. Oh, no, well, you left your family to go indulge in your mental health crisis. So now what? You're going to become a man again? This is ridiculous. So I'm curious as to how far this is going to go. And it's really incredible how there's quite a few prominent YouTube content creators in this kind of sphere that are they seem to have everything, and they are just pulled into dark worlds of depravity with minors. I'm not even going to get, people fall into drug habits. I mean, that's always something, you all of a sudden you live with excesses when you didn't have a lot. And then, you just find yourself down a path where you're doing drugs, you're doing this and that, you're living outside of any kind of a healthy habit there. But when it gets into this spiraling predatory stuff, it's incredible. It's very, very weird how this all happens. It was even happening with that Dr. Disrespect. Got kind of put on blast a couple of weeks ago. And I saw they started losing a lot of, that's millions. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars that these people, that these brands control. I mean, they are incredible. If you don't know who they are, it doesn't matter. They are incredibly powerful and influential media presences. And there has been quite a bit of a string of these sexual predator engaging minors kind of things going on with them. So I'm going to keep lookout on that one. Let me see here. Is that all I have for right now? That's all I have for right now. Let's get started, shall we? Plenty to do, so much to do, and I want to start taking your calls. So with that, sit back, relax, share the show wherever the hell you're watching, live or on demand, it doesn't matter. And please like the stream wherever the hell you're watching. If there's a like button, if there is a red pill button, if there's a thumbs up, whatever the hell it is, give it a like and give it a share. And then after the show is over, please give it a comment. The comments are everything. They are really, really everything. We're starting to see that all those factors coming together with you guys and gals just engaging with the content with these episodes. It's jogged something loose. So thank you so much. We will be right back.
Right after the break, we're going to interview Eric Weihenmayer, who climbed the highest mountain in the world, Mount Everest. But he's gay. He's blind. So we'll hear about that coming up.
Okay, as we head to the break, a look at the 6 o'clock.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's ride!
Grilling on Monday with numerous Republicans and at least one Democrat lawmaker demanding she resign. Her agency fell short of its zero-fail mission. There's a little bit here. It was incredible. Like I said, it was going to give you some mic drop moments, some sound bites, but what's really going to happen to her? I believe she really did come in to do a job, and That job is now complete.
Service have an agent on top of that roof?
Sir, I'm sure, as you can imagine, that we are just 9 days out from this incident, and there's still an ongoing investigation. And so I want to make sure that any information that we are providing to you is factual.
You can't, okay. Why did the Secret Service not, can you answer why the Secret Service didn't place a single agent on the roof?
We are still looking into the advanced process and the decisions that were made.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I was really expecting, when I heard that she was going to be brought before Congress, I was expecting her to plead the fifth. I thought it was going to be that obvious. But she gave the runaround, the stone face, hands, run around. As I said before, just chasing tails. And this is the burden we all have to bear. Because, of course, everything on this screen, everything happening on that screen is funded by you and I. Everything. Her salary, his salary, the upkeep of the room, everything. It's you and I. They get to just play these games and role play to no end with our money. Really makes you. I overpaid the IRS. Did you hear about that? This is the last of my 2023 tax stories as they raked me, and I'm sure many of you, over the coals as well. But when all of the abuse and the molestation was finished, once they wrung me out, once they really wrung me out, they had the nerve, the IRS did, to send me a check for $20.20 because I overpaid. You motherfucker. If I smoked cigarettes, I'd blow the whole thing on cigarettes. Would be like a half a pack over here in New York. That's what I would do. I say, you sons of bitches. you know what? Keep it. Keep it. You obviously need this more than I do. Send it to Ukraine. Cheadle's testimony came after Sunday night announcement from Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas that the DOJ was forming an independent review panel charged with the examining an attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Should have been a tribunal. But anyway, that's what happened. She's gone, and that's all we have. Okay? Now, do you have something on that? You certainly can call in. Because other than that, we've got, how much else? We got this. Does this make you feel in any way, shape, or form surprised when they report like this, the Daily News on Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris earns $231 million in donations on the first day of presidential campaign. It's never been done before.
Never been done. It's never been done. Not until her.
She just came. Jets in. You know, the funny thing is that you just know they're going to play these games. Like, oh, I can't believe it's like Kamala Harris, like the dark horse. Like we were sitting on a gold mine the whole time. I can't believe it. It's always been you. It's always been you, hasn't it been? Hasn't it been Kamala? It's so ridiculous. It's almost as ridiculous. Actually, it's even more so because it's getting worse and worse and worse, the storytelling that they do. You had Barack Obama and you had Joe Biden. Barack Obama did his thing for 2 terms. That's the way that story went. Then you have Joe Biden, who had to come in 2020 under all the circumstances we always hash out, and he ends up being a bigger vote getter than Barack Obama. What the hell is that? You know, you can say, oh, no, it wasn't necessarily that he was more popular than Barack Obama, but that definitely showed the urgency that people felt. Oh, yeah, okay, shove that up your ass, too, with everything else. Joe Biden, maybe he was the real secret sauce to the Barack Obama presidency. Maybe that's what it was. You know, a man who had the capability of whipping 81 million votes without even campaigning. It had to have been the magic of Joe. And then Joe goes and takes a woman who was polling less than 1%, who was the only Democrat candidate in the 2020 primaries that was willing to admit that Joe Biden's sexual assault accusers had validity. He picks her as the VP, and when he is ushered off the stage after being exposed to have been demented the whole
time.
After he's sick the whole time, and then she comes in and windfall $230 million. And depending on where you're going right now, if you go to Drudge Report right now, you know who the hell took that place over. They say shock poll. Kamala Harris is 4 points leading, 4 points ahead of Trump in the lead. Now you go digging into it a little bit and you see that they're oversampling Democrats again. And that's just really what it is. They have to just say it's neck and neck. It's already neck and neck. Polling lower than dirt. Now she's ahead of, and if you look elsewhere though, they're showing her 11 points behind Trump. But the con artists, they need people. They need the people who are going to stand in front of them as human shields. Physically and intellectual human shields. That's really what, blue and non-voters are all about. They are human shields. They are there to defend the most ridiculous of outcomes, the most ridiculous of ploys, the most transparent of ploys. That's what they're there for. They are going to be saying, no, of course, it makes sense. Of course Kamala was going to win. She's been neck and neck from the beginning. It was just her time. It just made sense. It didn't make sense a couple of years ago, but she just needed some time learning from Joe. They will jump through any hoop. They will twist themselves into any shape necessary to make it make sense. So those polls are for the human shield people. Okay, the human shield NPC normies. That's what those polls are for. Everybody else laughs at them, as we were reading some of those comments in the ABC video last night. Everybody else is laughing at him. We know what the hell's going on here. But the money. Here's the real, the truth of the matter there. Tony Saruga, among others, put this out. I'm told Harris campaign is already using Act Blue money laundering scheme. $20 million from Johann George Weiss, known as Hans-Georg Weiss, Hans-Georg Weiss, born September 19th, 1935, a Swiss billionaire, and was broken down into 1,600,000 donations across 400,000 donors. Dirty, dirty, dirty. And now here's an example of that. It took us no time at all to find a New Orleans resident named Cornelius Minot, who is listed as not employed, but nevertheless donated to Act Blue some 847 times between January 4th, 2021 and December 31st, 2022, in amounts ranging from $1 to $100 for a total of $18,276.54. This guy had a surplus of nearly $19,000 to give to Act Blue. Even though he's not employed. Must have won the lottery. And here's the house listed on the address of those donations. We found it by looking up the address on Google Maps. Nobody who lives in that house and is listed as not employed has $18,000 to give to Act Blue over a 2-year period. That's what's going on here. So $231 million, it is not everybody opening up their piggy banks and just wanting to throw it behind Kamala, or else they would have done it to Joe. This is just billionaires, internationalists all over the place, pumping it through, laundering it in whatever way. Sometimes they use war zones. They used Ukraine to launder everything through the guy Sam Bankman-Fried, his crypto scam. Remember we were reading about that? That was going into Ukraine, billions of dollars were coming back into the United States, and they are making their way to Republican and Democrat people who are looking to be reelected. So that's what that's all about. The money, it's all dirty. The polls, it's all ridiculous. It's all retarded. And this is what we were made to think. Now, here is a screenshot. I have a couple screenshots from the boards here. Then we're going to start taking some calls. This one was taken on the afternoon of the 21st, so it was on Sunday. It was after the fact. It was after the resignation, or at least the quitting of the campaign, already took place. And here's what somebody had asked. You might have seen this. I put it up on the Telegram last night, but here it is. Yanan says, so you're telling me the most popular candidate in U.S. history, who received the most votes of all time, dropped out of his bid for a second term via a tweet without any official letterhead, which is the most negligible part about this, because we've gotten a lot of people that said that the letterhead is illegal for them to use for that matter. I don't know. But the signature is all you really needed to know about. On an early Sunday afternoon, after months of denying his exit, and as recently as that morning, that Sunday morning, 107 days before the election, to the shock of his entire staff and family, and has yet to make any recorded statements or live appearance. Nearly 12 hours later, but will finish the remainder of his term as POTUS, rather than abdicating to his current VP, who he endorsed, and is now the presumptive nominee. And this is what I'm supposed to believe unquestionably. That's what you're supposed to believe. Now, I have not heard anything else about we read a couple of really provocative tweets and other things, and also we talked to Zach Voorhees last night about what he heard coming out of some of his sources in Las Vegas about medical emergencies, very severe medical emergencies regarding and involving Joe Biden. Is he alive? Is he in critical condition? Is he dead? Is it all just subterfuge? And it's who the hell knows? Apparently, there's going to be some sort of an address tomorrow. That's what I read. I mean, ever since then, all we have gotten was the clearly recorded nonsense that was put on there. Joe Biden is bringing back the telephone call-in on news shows and everything else. He's like a Microsoft Joe. It's really crucial time right here. Really crucial time. And make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be 3 months of the most insufferable that American politics has ever gotten, especially with this woman being pushed. This is going to be insufferable. It really is. You could at least tip your cap to Hillary Clinton's cunning. You can at least tip your cap to her. Yes, she's a snake. Absolutely. But you can at least tip your cap. Cunning. Kamala Harris is pathetic. Just from a presentation standpoint, pathetic. Can't think on her feet. There's nothing there. She's like, whatever. I'm not even going to go into, her affairs or whatever the hell's going on personally. It really doesn't even matter. I know that's where all the memes are going to come from. It doesn't really matter. There's just so much worse there. The fact that she's a complete empty vessel, and it's just like, tell me what to say, and I'm yours. But it's going to be insufferable. The media aspect of it's going to be. But think about where we are right now. Joe Biden is not only completely wasted physically, but he has been the entire time. And there are rumors of serious terminal conditions, and most of the functions of his office are being delegated out now to people within the last few days, and there's no signs of life except for those series of scripted AI-generated telephone calls. So, I don't know. I don't know what you think about it. Where are you allowing yourself to go with it all? That's what we're going to talk about right now. And while you call in, 914-200-0269, I'm going to read you a little something that I think is super, super interesting. And this could just be a LARP. It really could be. But on the other hand, I can see it being true. 914-200-0269. Here is from yesterday on 4chan. What have I told you? A few nights ago, Azure, the Microsoft cloud hosting service, suffered a major outage followed by next morning the CrowdStrike outage. This is what we were talking about last night with Zach. There is more to this than you know. Azure hosts many systems, websites, corporate servers, virtual machines, even LLMs. On one of these Azure machines was the White House. The White House was hosting an AI data set and model used to generate Joe Biden and other administration executives. Okay? To generate their videos and their audio. They spent significant time and storage to build this out, giving them the ability to place him in all manner of realistic scenarios. When Azure was taking down, the Joe Biden AI was also taken down. Listen, this is hilarious because it could be bullshit, but it also could all be real. You remember we got confirmation that they had essentially built a duplicate White House, but it was a TV set like on the campus somewhere in DC. And like press wasn't around. There's been some production. You want to talk about Kubrick kind of theories of the moon landing? Who knows what the truth is, but let's keep going. When Azure was taking down, the Joe Biden AI was also taken down. Data suggested this was an intrusion from a foreign actor. In a panic, the White House ordered CrowdStrike to push out an update that would enable them to track exfiltrated data from the Azure instance in hopes of preventing it from getting out of their control. CrowdStrike rushed the job and ended up sending out a bad driver which bricked 1 million Fortune 500 workstations. This created two problems. One, Joe Biden was now a liability because a foreign actor likely had the AI model and could impersonate him. This meant he had to go. Two, they didn't have the model themselves and couldn't make any new Biden videos. This is why he has not appeared in public. Why he dropped out and why they are scrambling like chickens with their heads cut off. What do you think about that? I mean, there would have to be, Donald Trump, that would say, so that I guess that Joe Biden on debate night had to be real. I mean, he's standing right across, he's 4 feet away from Donald Trump. Donald Trump didn't say anything about that. Well, he actually wasn't there that night. I don't know where the hell he was. It's like a hologram or something going on. Then he started doing the campaign circuit again. I mean, that unless he was a hologram in front of all those people, he has made appearances. But he's also they have started mixing in these audio-only calls that have been very, very dubious, to say the least. 914-200-0269. 772, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Frank. Your sound is off.
What?
The sound is off. It's been off since 7. This is Laura G. I've been calling you for a half hour.
My sound is off?
Yes.
Are you sure that it's not muted on your end, Laura?
No, I don't have it muted.
Okay, well, it's definitely on your end because it's not off for everybody else, Laura. I'm sorry that you missed all the shows so far. It was a pretty good show.
I could tell. I've been watching it.
Well, but you weren't hearing it, though.
Yeah, but I could see it.
Oh, yeah.
I read it.
Oh, if you're reading my lips, then I'm sure that you had a good time.
No, I wasn't reading your lips. I tried to, though.
Well, listen, Well, here's what I would say. I would say just restart your computer or something and just check all the places that you would normally check for your own sound controls over there, because I promise you that we are being heard. I'm sorry that this has been your experience the last 40 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. I'll let you talk to somebody else.
I just feel bad.
I just got off of YouTube and went back on. It's still muted.
Yeah, but are your speakers muted?
No. I've been watching TV the whole time.
Okay. Well, I don't know how.
Before I watched your show.
Unless I'm sure if I were there, I'd be able to troubleshoot for you, Laura. But I'm just sad that this has been your experience the last 40 minutes. That's all.
All right. Well, I love you.
All right, love you too. I'm so sorry. She was calling a lot. She was calling the entire time I was live. I said, let me take this number first. Poor girl. Okay, let's take a 419. You're on the air. Go ahead. Oh, there's another one. 254. You're on the air. Go ahead.
What's going on, Frank?
How you doing?
Well, I just want to. Oh, I'm good. This is Joel from Arkansas. I just wanted to touch on, like, I did long-range surveillance and target interdiction for 6 years in the Army, and there's no way that was that dude.
Wait.
So
What was what, dude? You mumbled a little bit.
Oh, the Crooks guy or whatever.
Yeah.
He wasn't the primary guy. I do believe that he served a purpose, i.e. the patsy and to take out civilians, but the money shot was from a different gun, from a different person, from a different spot.
So you said you've done this for a time, what, military?
Yeah, in the Army.
Okay.
Did that for 6 years, 2 times in Iraq, all that fun stuff.
So when you take a look at
inside buildings, all that.
All right. So then, over the last 10 days or so, there has been no shortage of materials for people to analyze, especially people with operational knowledge like you, to take a look at the campus, to take a look at trajectories and all that stuff, and really get a layout of the land. Aside from your just gut knowing that he was not the main attraction on that roof over there, when you analyze all the aerial shots, what do you suspect the real story was? From what location?
Well, I think it was probably in the same direction, azimuth, angle, whatever you want to call it, but it's probably much further back in a much better location that was much more concealed.
Are you part of the group that says this had to be from that water tower, or is that not completely in line? Direction.
I'd be in a tree in a ghillie suit. That's what I would do.
Tree in a ghillie suit.
If you are a trained person to do this particular job for this particular reason, you're going to be well trained. There's going to be no problem to shoot from a tree.
Okay.
At the end of the day. So especially that short of a range. If you're 200 yards, back in those woods behind that building, in the same general idea, so you get those angles for ballistics and all that fun stuff. But I think that the kid did hit the civilians, but I don't think that he was the primary. I don't think they were counting on him. And I think Trump's head spin was the one thing they couldn't account for.
Right. And so are you a sharpshooter?
I'm pretty okay with a rifle.
Okay, you're okay with a rifle. Well, I appreciate this the input. I'm sure that there's a lot of people in the audience who would probably agree with your assessment. I don't think anything about what we know, everything that we know about this kid that has become the central focus of the day's events is just, I just take it with a grain of salt. It just feels like so many other names and faces that we've been fed over the years, while something much bigger and much more sinister was really, the clockworks behind it. So.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, the key tell for me was the slope excuse.
Okay.
As soon as that hit me, that's when I started going with the angles. Yeah, I'd be above the dude on a general same azimuth. That's what I would do.
Well, I appreciate your call, and I hope that anything else that pops up that falls within the the category of your expertise, don't let it don't hold back. Just call in or email the show. Thank you, my friend.
Absolutely. Have a good day.
All right, take care. There you have it. 617, you're on the air. Go ahead. It's just it's you guys tonight.
Hi, Frank. Hold on. Let me just. I just have to shut you off. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's good to hear from you.
Okay. Just put on my phone because I know you hate when it's on speaker. So I just wanted to say that I'm one of your subs. I'm the other Pat and Gina here. And I wanted to say that it's always in the names, like in the spirit of revelation of method. Did you notice that, like, his name was Crook, and her name was Cheat? I don't know. I just thought it was interesting.
It's funny how those things. I think that's what would someone like Ryan Gable would call perhaps a synchronicity. That you just take note of those things. Perhaps it doesn't have any cosmic significance, but it's just funny how those things work out. I wouldn't call it necessarily a coincidence, but there is just
it's interesting. That's all. I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah,
Just
lots of cheats and crooks.
And I have one more 2 cents. I wanted to tell you that the way I remember your phone number is 914-2000-269. I think it's easier on the lips than saying 200-0269.
Well, I tried both of those things, and some people have said, "Hey, Frank, you should try the 2,269 thing." But to put the 4-number grouping in front of the 3-number grouping is just a little.
People off.
It's it's just a little awkward. Even though phonetically, I know what you're getting at. Phonetically, it's pleasing, but whenever we group, we grow up our whole lives grouping those phone numbers in 3s and 4s. So, but thank you for the call, Gene.
Okay. Have a good night, Frank. Love you, hon. Bye-bye.
Take care. Be good. All right. 914-200-0269. Harris earns $231 million in donations on first day presidential campaign. It's never been done. Never been done before. Oh, here's something else that's never been done. Well, I guess I'd say it has been done, but it's just this week. It's just incredible. Hackers leaked documents from Pentagon IT service providers Leidos. Files linked to a breach of Diligent Core disclosed in 2023. Leidos' clients include the Pentagon, Homeland Security, and NASA. I was reading a little bit about this before. I was talking about it with the Zells. I don't know if they call in. Jim Zell wrote into me, says, so all this is happening. Trump assassination attempt, CrowdStrike IT, worldwide virus, Pentagon hack, Biden removal. Oh, the theater. And I asked him about that there, too. This is one of those things with gambling. I know a lot of people. Oh, actually, hold on. Here's Frank. Hey, Frank, you there?
Yeah. What's happening, Frankie?
What's going on, man? I was just talking about you because I read the Pentagon had the IT services hack and all that stuff, and I was just about to get into the market, the betting markets. So many people, you've brought it up in the past, but I've also brought it, and I dig around for that stuff there too. It's not just about sports. It's about just world events, elections, whatever the hell it is. I mean, just like in the same way that the stock market is essentially like watching the betting markets, because people, they have inside information. They know who's going to make a move here. They understand politically what kind of economic impacts one outcome of one situation is going to have over the other. But as far as your understanding and tracking betting markets for world events, like what do you what do you pay strict attention to, if at all?
Well, I mean, I don't pay attention. You can, well, first off, you can pretty much bet on anything nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, but I gamble from time to time. I try to see value when I find it. If I find value, I'll put it on. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be anything. It could be any sport, as long as I see value. And I'll do like the presidential election. To me, that's like the Super Bowl of politics. So I'll put a little money on it. And back in 2020, everybody on the right, we were all pumped up. Biden spent the summer and the fall campaigning from his basement, wasn't talking to the press, and we were all sure. So I'm looking at the betting lines as the election's drawing near, and I'm like, look at this, man. Texas, Georgia, he's an underdog. It's a lock. Pennsylvania, lock. Iowa, lock. So, I bet Donald Trump to win, and I bet a whole bunch of states that I thought for sure Donald Trump had in the bag. And I remember, I think I called you that night when everything was, or maybe the day after, when everything was going down and, they stopped counting votes. I think I called you and I told you that I had put money on it. And that's when I said, oh man, I think I'm screwed from a money standpoint.
Yeah.
Which I wound up breaking even when it was all said and done. But it's the overseas site that I used. Somebody had to have known, because in retrospect, it was a dirty line. Like when you see, if you bet sports, let's say this past football season, if the Jets are, let's say the Jets played the Cowboys and the Jets were giving the Cowboys points in Dallas and we were giving you 5, any gambler would say, that's a dirty line. Take the Jets, even though it seems improbable. That's what they did in the 2020 elections on that overseas site. It was dirty lines. I was just so pumped up for the election that I wanted to put money on it, and I fell for it. So whoever, it's called sharp money. I think I mentioned that in the Twitter message today. Sharp money in gambling, in the gambling world, is bettors or a group of people who win constantly and have, as you mentioned before I called, with a source of information. And they can, regular bettors don't matter. We're not gonna move the line one way or the other. But when these people put money down, the line shifts dramatically because their money counts. That's the sharp money.
The whales.
Yeah, just the big time bettors, and not just, there's whales who can't move a line because they're losers. But then there are people who consistently win. And in the betting world, nobody consistently wins. You bet long enough, you're going to lose, except for those who have information.
Yeah.
Let's say, if a quarterback is, doing a lot of coke and he's partying on Friday night and Saturday night, he's got a game Sunday at 1. The sharp money is going to go against that quarterback.
Or Arnold.
Public may not know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or Arnold Rothstein, betting on the 1919 World Series, knowing he paid off the White Sox. It's just that's just. Well, let me ask you this. I guess this is the bigger question going into late October, November. When will you be able to report back to us and say, guys, there's a dirty line on this right now? And when is that posted? Is it the day before Election Day? Is that when we're going to know that the that the fix is in, or at least they're going to try it? Or is that something that we're going to have a week or two to really grapple with?
I mean, you can go on to a site like Predicted, and that deals in cents, and it fluctuates, and there's people, in essence, betting, and it moves every day. Like right now, at one point, Harris was up by a couple of cents to win the election, to beat Trump. But you're talking, this is months out. So that's just a bump, and it's probably just a lot of people who are into this that are left-leaning, that are just putting money in it. I mean, if you want to just casually follow Predicted, but you gotta belong to a gambling site, and a true gambling site, whether you're using FanDuel, I don't even know if FanDuel does it. I'll see this year, but I can always go to the overseas site. And then as it gets closer, October, that's when you start paying attention and you see what moves. You can see the states and see, where it's at and how it shifts on a week-to-week basis or a day-to-day basis. But okay. I wouldn't even look at it till October.
All right. Well, then that's something we'll check in on. Let me. As I know, I threw that at you as soon as you got on here. So, is there anything else you want to quickly comment on?
That I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Lidos, that company?
That's how I pronounce it. Yeah, that's how I pronounce it.
Yeah, Lidos. What is happening? I know you're probably pissed off because you're used to writing for your show, but this is like historic stuff, man. It's stuff that we haven't lived through. Now, in the 60s, I think Johnson stepped down in March of 68. And right after that happened, I think maybe even a few days later, Martin Luther King got assassinated. And then a couple of months later, the Democrats' best anti-war candidate, Bobby Kennedy, gunned down at the Ambassador Hotel. I mean, sometimes you go through stretches of decades where you don't have these huge things happening. And it's happening, it seems like almost on a daily basis, that all these things are going to connect. It's like maybe I said it on your show a few days ago, it's blackmail.
Well, what's
and
this?
Then a report came out by Politico that they were blackmailing Biden. They set him up. I said that days ago, that Biden got set up. He was put out there to fail in that debate. The Democrats have had this planned the entire time.
Yeah.
So something is terribly wrong, and I'm starting to get that worried feeling. I know a few days ago I said, if they put Kamala out, they're throwing, they're walking, they're just going to say this is a loser. Man. I'm starting to get a totally different vibe.
I know.
This is months and months ahead, man. These people had this in play. They had that debate circled, and they put him out there, knowing he was going to fall on his face. And I think Biden's they said, the black man, we'll use the 25th Amendment against you. And I guess Biden's defense was, go ahead, do it, and sink in the polls even further. You'll look terrible. And eventually they came to an agreement. So for, whether it was putting money in overseas accounts for the Biden family, who the hell knows? But all this is going to tie in. That Leidos Corporation, maybe not this week, maybe not next week, but when it comes time for that October surprise, they had access to internal investigations going on at the Department of Defense, Pentagon, NASA, almost every agency. All their internal documents, they got emails, you name it. Are you telling me something's not going to leak out? Now, which side this is on? Who knows?
Yeah.
Bloomberg mentions it's documents have been leaked. Leaked to who? I haven't seen anything yet.
I went back to our private message there, and it was that Captain Jedberg quote from Edge of Darkness. And
Tremendous.
I mean, it's a huge quote right there. Anyone who looks at the rest of this is going to see that something happened, but no one is going to be able to figure it out. That's your objective, to make it so convoluted that anyone can have a theory, but no one's got the facts. I mean,
exactly.
That's why I'm never in the diagnosis game. I try to stick to, some talks about principles and philosophy and seeing what other people think out there. But to get into the predictions game is really, really, it's nutty when you really start conceiving of the kind of machinery that we're up against.
Oh, from the power structure, the media. Take the shooting, the assassination of Trump. You're never going to get to the bottom of it. And that quote is a great description why. You can have theories, but you're never going to know the facts. Ever. They're still keeping facts away from the public when it comes to Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to see it. They'll just say national security, and it's done with. You can speculate all you want, and that's what they want. They want a multitude of theories, because you're never going to get to the truth. Now, people will spend, who knows, people get hooked on things, like I got hooked on the Ramsey case. Somebody will get hooked on the shooting of President Trump and spend years trying to find that second shooter or third shooter.
Yep.
Well, maybe it was just the 20-year-old and the Secret Service just dropped the ball, which is impossible, but whatever. Anyway. Yeah, pay attention to that Leidos thing, Frank, because I'm telling you, it may not be in the upcoming weeks, but a couple of months down the line, when there's an October surprise, you'll know where it came from.
All right. I'll take a look into it and send my best to the family.
Absolutely, Frank. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Take care. I love when they call in. I love when everybody calls in. More information about Leidos. Founded in 1969, Leidos is a defense aviation information technology and biomedical research company based out of Reston, Virginia. After merging with Lockheed Martin in 2016, Leidos became the largest IT services provider in the defense industry. Leidos is publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol LDOS. The company employs more than 45,000 people and generates approximately $14 billion in annual revenue. Hey. Truly crazy. Okay. Let's take a couple more calls. One more call, and we'll go on a really quick intermission because I got to get myself more water over here. It'll be a quick one, 90 seconds. 289, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Frank. Thanks for taking my call, buddy. How you doing?
Great to have you on. Who's this?
It's Dragon Stage up in Canada.
Oh, what's up? It's been a while.
So glad I got through. Hey, it's been a while. Yeah, I'm in my backyard. I'm shooting my bow and just kept trying. And finally I got through.
Oh, well, I'm happy you got through. So what's on your mind tonight?
Well, a couple things. I'll try and be quick about this, but there's a couple things. Callers just a couple before me were talking about the betting thing and about how some people always win and they always know where the money is and where you should put the money. I was wondering if you guys know about a guy named Zachary Hubbard who does a thing called Gematria Effect News.
I don't.
He's basically broken down all of language. All of our English language can be broken down into numerology. And when he breaks it down into numerology, this guy can uncannily pick the winners of the Super Bowls, all kinds of sports games, and it's all based on kind of current events, place names, people involved, the sports teams, the people on the sports teams. It's really bizarre. But if you can find him on YouTube, he's really heavily shadow banned. But Zachary Hubbard, and I don't want to go on and on about this.
Well, send me an email about that.
There's other great dirty rabbit holes that I want to kind of quickly go over here with you. But I just emailed you tonight, Frank, about a story about how America and parts of Canada subsequently are part of the old world, not as we've been told, the new world. And I sent you a couple of interesting YouTube videos just to kind of send you down this great dirty rabbit hole, but basically that we're living in the remnants of the ancient Roman Empire, and the new Roman Empire has come from Rome and Italy and basically stomped all over us here. And it has to do with the Six Nations Indians and the people that were here previously. That's the second thing I want to get at. But thirdly, and I'm gonna blast through these, Frank, I'm really sorry about this, but the third thing is the IT fellow that you had on the last couple nights and some other guests in the near past were talking about computers and technology. And I used to be a technologist. I'm not a carpenter, but when I was a technologist, I worked for a huge phone company for a while. And I had this woman call in. I was a troubleshooter. So whenever there was a call that came in that nobody knew how to deal with, they would pass it along to me and I would fix the problem and make the customer happy again. Well, this one woman called in one day, and this woman was beside herself. She was so irate, and not just irate, she was crying and she was freaking out, and she was trying to get a message across to someone and nobody would listen to her. And she said that they were going to have her committed, and basically she was afraid that she was going to be killed for the information that she was about to tell me. And she said that her husband works for the Canadian government. She was up in the Ottawa area. And she said that this was back in the early 2000s. She said her husband had let her know that what was going on in the tech industry was that the tech companies and the big tech companies had installed backdoors in all of the chips, that they had a way into everything. And there was nothing any user could do to stop them from getting into everything. And she said there was a diabolical plan. Like, I swear to God, this is the weirdest call I ever got in my life. And it lingered. It stayed with me up until now. Like, that was 20 years ago. And it didn't really make sense until the last few years. But this woman was saying that they had basically taken over with backdoors into everything, and that they had access to all of the technology. And this is before smartphones really even took off. So going back then and looking at what this woman was freaking out about, she was losing her mind. She said that they were going to use this technology to enslave the world. And she was absolutely losing it.
Wait. Let me just interject a question real quick right there again. What was the relationship? Where were you working at the time that they were on the phone? You were on the phone with her. You were. What was the context of the phone call?
So
how did you get on with her?
I worked as an operator for the biggest telecom company in North America at the time. I guess, Bell Canada, you would say, but it's the only one here in Canada. It was the only one here at the time.
Okay, so then, why did you feel like you were an appropriate person to? Did you feel like she had nobody left to talk to except the telephone operator? Or?
I honestly don't even know. I can't remember that part of it. I think she did have an issue with some of her services too, but that was like it wasn't even an issue. Like, she was more concerned with this other thing that was going on. And she was crying and saying that nobody believed her and that she had to get this message to people and tell people that this was happening. And I guess she called the operator as like a last resort. And the operator didn't know what to do with her. So the operator passed her up through me, who basically I was transitioning into management at the time, and they were kind of pushing me up the chain, and I became an analyst eventually. But she was losing her mind. She was absolutely losing her mind, and she said her husband worked for the Canadian government in IT, and that this is what they were doing, and it wasn't just the Canadian government; it was Canadian, the U.S., and the Israeli government working together.
He worked for the government currently at that time, or was he had in the past?
Yes.
So he was still
her
alive.
Husband apparently worked in IT at the time, working on that project.
And this was went around like what 2002, 3 after 9/11.
About 2003, yeah, I think.
And so did he go? Did she go into any detail about? Because obviously there are backdoors into everything now, and we knew that was we had confirmed that from China itself. Then again, right after the late 90s, when the Clintons were in office, they were the ones that pretty much made the Chinese the threat that they are today, with all types of who the hell knows? Maybe this was all part of the plan to make them the greatest manufacturer of corrupted technology and consumer grade technology there is, just to be able to invade us. But aside from all of the the privacy compromised stuff that we use today that was already starting back then, how did you go into the threat to mankind aspect?
Well, just saying that they were gonna use it as leverage, and eventually they would spy on everyone to know what everybody was doing all the time, basically a Big Brother scenario. And that's something we talk about here all the time. Yeah. And that's why I thought it was relevant. But
I thought that she was going to go into something more like singularity based, like there's going to be a day that it's just going to be chips and everybody's going into the metaverse. Like if she came to you with a prophecy like that would have been pretty nuts. But still, that must have been, I can see why you remembered that 20 years later. That's one hell of a story.
It was pretty freaky. Yeah, it was really freaky. And at the time, I kind of, in my mind, was sort of like, is this lady crazy? Like, I didn't know what she was really talking about at the time. And it didn't make a lot of sense until kind of years later, when I kind of mulled it over again and thought, okay, maybe what that lady was saying that day that sounded crazy was right. And sort of the more we look at this technology and things that are happening with like programs like Hammer and Scorecard that we now know about, and there's another program called Pegasus, which they developed, which they can use to get into everything. And so it's all true. It all became true.
Well, yeah, there's a lot to go on with this. And caller, I wish this was like the old Skype system where I can save your name here, but I can't, unfortunately. But you said you sent me an email today?
Yeah, I just sent it to you about an hour ago, maybe.
Cool. I'll look out for that.
It'll be under Dragon Sage. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for the call, Dragon Sage. That's all very interesting, and I definitely want to look into the guest on the that kind of gematria. I still have to get somebody on to come on and talk about that, all the numbers and stuff. What Dragon Sage was just talking about with the first comment he made kind of sounded like that Bible code stuff. Only you're not finding Super Bowl winners in the Bible. I don't think so. Maybe you are. Who knows? Who knows? All right, really quick break. 90 seconds. I hope you guys will be here on the other side because we have more of this. I want to get into this clip from Elon Musk. The lines are still going to be open, so whatever you have on your mind right now, it's still going to be relevant in about 2 minutes from now. Don't go anywhere. I just have to get myself a little bit more water over here. So BRB.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out to press the like button.
Hey.
Thank you.
Hey, I've seen this one. This is a classic.
Well,
Quite frankly.
quite frankly,
Quite frankly.
quite frankly,
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
quite frankly,
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly. Quite frankly.
quite frankly,
Quite frankly.
quite frankly, guys.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
So everybody watch. Quite frankly, with Frank. Quite frankly. How dare you?
Oh, it's good to see that Joe Biden arrived at the White House again. 2 hours ago, an aerial picture of somebody with white hair and a tailored suit jacket is going into the White House, I guess. He says, good to be back at the White House. So I'm sure. Had a little bit of an AI issue, but it's all cleared up now. Thank you so much. All right, what else we have? Quickly, some super chats. Thank you, Laura G. Says, I love you, Frank, no matter what. I tried calling twice, just hoping. I would like to hear the show with sound because the articles looked interesting. Oh, this must have been before Laura got through to the show. Of course, that we do have sound, and I can't wait to hear back from Laura to know what silly little thing happened to her so that she could then go back and enjoy the show. Jay Britt says, my birthday dinner's tonight. I'll catch you on replay. Have a great show, Frank. P.S. I'm gay. Happy birthday, Jay Britt. That's great to have you. Great to have you just checking in before you go out to a birthday dinner. I love birthday dinners. I gotta wait all the way until next April to do that again. But it'll be here before you know it. All right, no Rumble rants to speak of, and we have a couple of super chats over on the Gold Pills. QuiteFrankly.tv, powered by Pilled.net, the coziest place to watch the show, gotta say. Doug Simmy bought a 12-month silver tier subscription. You know what that means? For 12 months, Doug is going to be getting all of the links for the Sunday streams. He's going to be getting all of the book club links. He's going to be getting all of the newsletters for those. That's 12 newsletters, and so much more. Doug, thank you so much for being on with me for the next year. Hopefully, when you examine the next 12 months, next July, you will decide to renew your lease. Hopefully I will have done enough to convince you it would be worth it. Pam D. Sean Joe Swickley says, what about the Trump playing card with him on it? 611. No such thing as coincidences. Doesn't exist. What does 611 mean? The Trump playing cards? Are you talking about the NFT thing? The Trump playing card with him on it with a 611. I don't know. Shaquille Oatmeal says, wonderful to catch you live tonight. Wild 2 weeks, Boston Dynamics humanoid potato bot fired, and ice cream day. A Boston Dynamics humanoid potato bot fired on ice cream day? What does that mean? I'm sure I'm missing that. I'm missing the point there, Shaquille. You got to get in touch with me. Castle Drummer says, Frank, do you think Biden is alive? If indeed, if it was the real Joe Biden to begin with. I don't know. I mean, I hear that we're going to be getting some kind of an address tomorrow. It's going to be very simple. I think people are going to be analyzing every crease in his face to make sure that it's a real person. The reports we got yesterday seemed pretty dire. And they also seem like they were coming from pretty good sources of information, the medical emergency, if there's a coma, whatever the hell it was. I don't know. But we are dealing with magicians here. So, and I always said if it was him to begin with, if it wasn't him, why would they keep getting decrepit old Joe Bidens? Why can't you get, I mean, at this point, you need to, he has a reputation for being clumsy and stuttering and shuffling around and kind of clueless. So I guess if you're going to replace him with somebody that has just a little bit more shelf life, they have to have all those, manageable levels of those qualities. Can you imagine that? It's like, we have to find another Biden now. Well, I mean, people are used to him being a little bit demented, so we have to find a slightly demented guy to put this damn mask on. Someone, or a great actor. I mean, there's people that do a lot of great Biden impersonations. Kyle Dunnigan does a pretty good Biden impersonation. I saw that pairing of Trump and Biden on that clip from the Kill Tony that I don't watch, but people say I should. So it's not like there aren't good actors out there, but the whole point is, what are we looking at? There's a visual aspect that has to be mastered. So, Doug Simmy, thank you. Sean Joe, 3 months bronze tier, just gifted it. Sean Joe, this is what I'm talking about, watching on quitefrankly.tv and wanting to become a sponsor, maybe wanting to taste test some of the exclusive stuff. Shit like this happens all the time. Sean Joe just gifted, threw that out into the chat room, a 3-month subscription. And John from Connecticut just said, I'll take that. And then Sean Joe did it again. And then Joe Elaine says, I'll take that. That could have been you. And you could have read whatchamacallit with us. Never ending story with us in 2 weeks. Anyway, become a sponsor however you like. Let's take a call. Aaron Moriarty, what's going on, Truth Quest?
Hey, Frank. Thanks for taking my call. Great show, by the way.
Thank you.
You know, I got to say, I got a couple things to take home here, I think. This Kimberly Cheadle, she was 27 years with the Secret Service, and then she was with Pepsi Security. She was like protection and security at Pepsi.
Mm.
And I thought, well, how can that be? And I thought, I figured it out. Now we know why they need security at Pepsi. You see, Coca-Cola came to town. Pepsi-Cola shot them down. Dr. Pepper fixed them up, and then they all drank 7-Up.
Ah.
There you go.
But wait. Who owns 7-Up, though? Who's the parent company of 7-Up? I think it's... hold on. 7-Up.
Who is it?
Parent company. Let me see here. Who owns it?
Actually,
it's PepsiCo.
Actually, that's just
I think is it PepsiCo? No, wait. Yeah, wait. The brand 7-Up and formula, they're owned by Keurig Dr. Pepper, although the beverage is internationally distributed by PepsiCo. So it's I don't know, man. That's killing each other for what?
You know, we used to say that. We used to say that as kids. There's just a rhyming little soda saying that we used to say.
I love it. Give me a Dr. Pepper, though. I'll take the Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I was a Barks root beer fan myself, and an A&W root beer. I used to work at A&W place.
Oh, okay. The root beer was never something I can really latch onto. I'm much more apt to take a bottle of cream soda. But that would have to, but even some of those can be way too sweet. There's like really subtle cream sodas out there that I like. But anyway, we're detracting from the larger point. So she was working security at Pepsi. Was she working at PepsiCo in Purchase, New York by any chance?
I'm not sure. I thought it was odd that she was security at Pepsi. And then I thought of that old rhyme. And I thought, oh, that's kind of cute.
That's okay. Okay, keep going then.
The other thing, this is something a little bit more, I'm looking into my crystal ball a little bit here. Now, when Cheadle was on the hot seat the other day, she said, I would be remiss if I didn't remark that about your colleague, Sheila Jackson Lee's passing, because she had a lot of oversight at Secret Service. And I'm thinking, okay, that's interesting. Now she died 5 or 6 days after the assassination attempt. And what was the last song that was played at the RNC? And Trump was in charge of the music. It was that opera, Some of All Fears.
Yeah.
The last song. So maybe Sheila Jackson Lee, so corrupt, she was even giving bribes in the courtroom during Blasey Ford's Kavanaugh hearing.
Yeah, she's definitely an envelope passer, and she's not a very subtle one too. We saw that. So
right.
she liked being at least shallow connections. I mean, you can just tell some people just want to be part of the machine, and she was there long enough. But as far as the timing of her death, I don't know. I don't. If she announced that she was sick, how long it was for, I really don't know the whole thing. But I've seen people draw connections.
Oh, okay. I'll also look at Biden is sick now. He's corrupt to the core. I wonder how many people who are corrupt to the core are going to be, trying on those wings soon here. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know.
I mean,
Who knows?
Who does know? The one thing I can say is that whatever the original plan for Biden would have been, if this was the original plan, then he should be happy that that it was this, even though it was not the very dignified exit, and he's been completely thrown under the bus and any other vehicle that you can think of, thrown under the tank. It is. You know, at least he got to keep his head, if he even has one still. But that's that. So you're pretty much like me and everybody else in the audience. Interesting times, huh? We don't know which way's up.
You know, remember back in the old days they had slow news days. Remember those days?
Yeah.
Now it's terrible. But you know what? If JFK, if they would have had Anons and the internet back in 1963. Then that might not have happened. You know what? I remember watching that when I was a kid. I was like 1.5, and I saw it on the TV, and it made me and everyone on the whole planet so sad, so incredibly sad.
At 1.5?
It was a sadness that was just heavy, and I felt it as a 1.5-year-old, and it was horrible. And I had that same feeling when Trump went down. Oh my God, that was so scary. We don't know how close we came to something really horrific.
Yeah, that's
so we need to pray for that man and everyone around him. My goodness.
I appreciate the call, Aaron. It's one of those things I said before when we came on the air on Monday, when I had a little bit more time to collect myself last week. And thanks again. That's Aaron Moriarty of Truth Quest. We'll never really know what hung in the balance at that point. And that's, of course, if they're able to keep him alive going forward. Now, as far as everything else goes, especially as what did he just bring up? The I forget what he just said with the other thing. Oh, JFK. If we had people blogging about it and at least just mocking. It's the mockery of the official story that is the most important. You don't have to be there. You don't have to have anything. It's just, I'm sure that there was plenty of people back in the 1960s that were just like this, this stuff doesn't add up. When anything happens, I'm sure there's plenty of people just like, this doesn't add up. But, I mean, you had to go out of your way to try to find anybody who was willing to have a conversation like that. And so, yeah, there is definitely the internet is a big part of this, just from the mockery and the analytical aspects of official stories that have been published. But from the new media, social media aspects, that makes it impossible. But they do it anyway. That's the whole thing. I mean, how many times over the years, if you've been watching this show for any extended amount of time, have I said they can't, that's not a first choice. Now that is even deeper in last choices as it ever was before, to say, okay, I think they got to go. I think they got to go. I think it's going to have to be at this rally. I think it's going to have to be over there in Dealey Plaza or something like that in public, instead of just, poisoning a person, hitting them with the heart attack gun, which we know that they've had since 1975. It's like untraceable. All of a sudden you have a heart attack an hour later, or whatever the hell it was. That's what some people said happened to Andrew Breitbart. But anyway, 1963 was sloppy. It was really sloppy. And we've had 50 years plus to talk about it. And I don't know how many times I've said on this show, well, listen, you look at how they were almost unable to pull that off. You had a lot more of a trusting population. There's a lot more people that trusted Walter Cronkite and Dan Rather. They trusted the government. They would never, ever think they'd be much more inclined of looking toward, any kind of a Cold War adversary over their own national security state. That's still largely unthinkable to the average American. I think that we have had our trust effectively shaken and broken in many respects, so that that's number one, that's possible. Then, of course, there's the whole idea of how much footage you actually have, actual material. All we had in 1963 was Abraham Zapruder. And that one guy with one camera was so damning that they had to alter it. They had to alter it. They all, you watch the speed of the Zapruder tape altered and course corrected? How right around the time when the driver essentially slows down, when all the other sharpshooters have missed their shot. I guess it's like the last ditch effort there, going to shoot him in the head or whatever the hell happened. But they slowed down. They kept it, and they adjusted the speed so it looked like they were maintaining speed. But there was a slowdown, there was the headshot, and then there was an acceleration away. But that got corrected after the fact. That's one camera angle. That's just one. Now you have everybody. You think about what we've gotten in the last 10 days of people, all camera angles from all different points around Donald Trump. People showing, saying, where the hell are all these officers running off to, going in the direction of that one roof? Just, I don't know, less than a minute before the shot started being fired. I mean, everybody is an NBC. You had like thousands of NBC studios from 1963 there, but just with the phone. And I used to think that was going to be the biggest deterrent for any of that to ever be done again. Nope. And it's not like it's unthinkable to find some disaffected head case that could be groomed into doing something crazy and, of course, eliminated with absolutely nobody batting an eye. The kid dead on the roof, all that stuff. Nobody would give a shit about him. He's a name, he's the almost John Wilkes Booth in the story over here. But other than that, that's everything else was cheatle. I mean, it's incredible what they had to do. And it was a bad plan. It's a really bad plan. Because even if people believe that this kid was the shooter, what had to be done to open up a lane for him to do it is just, I mean, it goes far beyond negligence, my friends, and you all know that. It's incredible, but they did it again. They did it again. I thought they would never try something like this again. I thought that they would go in other ways, because it's just, especially in public, how are you going to pull this off? They tried it. They didn't pull it off. I mean, that's the case in point. Do they try again like this? Very strange. Like, the amount of history we've witnessed in 10 days is something else. If you are a writer out there, write. If you have some kind of inspiration inside of you to be a war correspondent, a journalist of any kind, you want to be an essayist, whatever the hell it is, start writing. Just word association every day. Just empty your brain. Make a journal. Turn it into something else. Just write stuff down. I don't know what the hell you're going to do with it, but can't trust the Dan Rathers anymore. All right, let's see here. Take a listen to this. Here is Elon Musk. Here's one last question I have for you, too. Or maybe we can bring it up tomorrow. I don't know. But I have it in the title. Elon Musk says he vowed to destroy the woke mind virus. Maybe we can just introduce this tonight and then bring this topic back tomorrow in some way, because I should ask the Freds this when I talk to them tomorrow. Hopefully that goes through. But about the mind virus, I want you to listen to this. It's 2 minutes. You probably heard before. He's talking to Jordan Peterson about his son that was really hooked by the whole trans thing. Now he believes that his son Xavier is essentially dead. Take a listen to this.
It happened to one of my older boys, where I was essentially tricked into signing documents for one of my older boys, Xavier. This was before I had really any understanding of what was going on, and we had COVID going on, and so there was a lot of confusion. I was told, Xavier might commit suicide if he did. That was a lie right from the outset. Incredibly evil, and I agree with you that people that have been promoting this should go to prison. So I was tricked into doing this, and it wasn't explained to me that puberty blockers are actually just sterilization drugs. Anyway, and so I lost my son essentially. They call it dead naming for a reason.
Yeah,
all right. So the reason it's called dead naming is because your son is dead. So my son Xavier is dead, killed by the woke mind virus.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what that would be like.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and there's lots of people in that situation now.
Right.
It's not pretty, and lots of demolished kids.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's a good reason to be the final straw. All right, so let's.
So I vowed to destroy the woke mind virus after that. And we're making some progress.
Join the club.
Yeah.
Vowed to destroy it, making some progress. Now, I asked Zach Voorhees last night, how does one destroy it? If you're coming at this technologically, what can you do? Because so much of this is algorithmic. And I may have to play this again tomorrow just because I want to get more of you guys on it, because this really does come back around to the whole cancel culture debate we were talking about here. He's not talking about trying to sober people. He's talking about people going to jail. All right? How ruthless do we have to be, especially right now in the midst of a war like this? I think that's pretty huge. It's a pretty huge statement to make. It's a very, very big statement to make. How ruthless do you have to be? Are we not in a war? I just don't understand what people think it's. I certainly don't understand this. I guess this ties into everything. I'm glad I'm doing this right now, but we can bring it up in bigger context tomorrow, because I should pose this to the guest tomorrow night. But are we not in a war? Isn't that not what we've been talking about the first half? Right into this right now. What do people think is going to be expected of us going forward? What do you think it means when we say that there's no voting our way out of this? Because even if we make ourselves a Congress, we constitute a new Congress that is as fiercely constitutional and patriotic as our founding generation was, that's when the dirty work really needs to get started. There are tens of millions of people that need to leave this country. Tens of millions. I'm not talking about that 10, 11 million number that everybody keeps throwing out there. It was 10, 11 million people 40 years ago. Probably more than that. Tens of millions need to go. And they're going to do so kicking and screaming. All right. The media is going to cover that like it's the Trail of Tears. There will be little crying Guatemalan children on the cover of every magazine. It is going to be very, very tough. There are trillions of dollars worth of government programs and agencies that need to be sunsetted out of existence and thrown back to the states. Every last beggar nation in the world needs to survive without American citizens propping them up. How do you think that's going to be received? Especially when you pull the umbilical cord on Israel. States like that. There are close to 2 million people in the government that have to lose their jobs on a federal level alone. It's not even, and we're not even we can't even touch all the so-called anti-private property laws that masquerade as civil rights laws that need to be addressed. And to Elon's point here, the brain rot that has infected everything from preschools to the military with this Malthusian deconstruction of reality kind of mindset, the mockery that we deliver out there, it keeps our spirits high. And with enough consistency, it'll definitely inspire people to avoid things like schools and psychiatrist offices altogether and whatever. But can we really continue to turn a blind eye to things like outright child abuse? Is it good enough to see a practice get shut down if they're doing bad? What about the people? So I understand it. We have this trepidation to hold lower middle class people account for murderous public declarations, and they are kind of, outed on it when they're at work or whatever there. But how are we going to have the stomach to do the real work if we can't make an example out of someone who would completely throw you down a flight of stairs if they had the physical ability, just because they work at a Home Depot? Don't touch her. Don't touch her. I don't know. I think this all ties in. I think it really does all tie in, because the Kamala Harris joke, the funding joke, the fake polls, all of this is abuse that can't go on anymore. It can't go on anymore. So that's a question that we can bring into tomorrow. How do you destroy the woke mind virus? I don't know. Matt from Montana, what do you have for us tonight?
Hey, Frank, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Go ahead.
I don't know. I sent you an email. You probably didn't see it. It was a little later in the day, but and I don't know if you covered this. I'm jumping in late, but did you happen to catch Eli Crane, the representative from Arizona, in the assassination hearing today?
No.
Okay, so he's the guy. He's a former Navy SEAL sniper representative in Arizona. You've probably seen a video of him recently where he went to the site and he's on the roof and he's just kind of given logistics. But
I think I saw that video. I don't know the guy, so I think I saw that video though. Go ahead.
Okay. During the hearing today, he starts asking, some of the normal questions that everybody's been asking. But they're interviewing some guy that's high up in law enforcement in PA, and he asked him, did your team or did law enforcement breach the shooter's home before the shooting? And then he kind of corrected himself, and then he asked the guy, interestingly enough, he said, did you find anything out of the ordinary once you did go into the shooter's home, like there was no silverware and there was no trash? So he's asking him questions, and it sounded like he knew something about when law enforcement got to the house, that something was off. Like it sounded like people weren't actually living there. So it was a very curious line of questioning.
So what you're saying is, even though you don't know what he was getting at the moment, he was asking a series of questions that kind of implicate he already knows the answers, and he just wants to see how deep the coordination and possibly perjury would go.
Yeah, it sounded like he knew something and he had information about.
Okay, I'll take a look.
About when the law enforcement got there. Check I sent you the okay. video and gave you a timestamp, but cool. It's definitely much different than it's a much different line of questioning than we've been hearing from the average people or the average representative.
That's interesting, Matt, and I'll take a look at that. Thank you so much for the call. Let me just take a look. Is this Big Irk?
Yes, sir. What's happening, man?
What's up, man? How you been?
Pretty good, dude. I mean, despite everything fucking going on, how else can you fucking be,
I know. Hey, let me ask you something. How plugged in are you with the political perception of 2024 right now, especially with Mexican Americans? What are they thinking about this? How has it evolved or devolved since 2020?
To be honest with you, man, I mean, everybody is pretty much on the same page. It's just, people are afraid to speak about it or whatnot, because everybody's, pretty fucked up, dude. Nobody knows what's going on or how it's going, or nobody knows the truth about shit, So
yeah,
everybody kind of just sticks to their own. But I mean, as far as me, my family, and my side of things, a lot more people are trending towards the Trump side because they see, and I've been, I open my mouth, but it only goes so far sometimes.
Oh, I know. I just, really, this is the most I open my mouth to be. You think that I probably walk around? Most people probably think I walk around like a preacher. I'm very. This is my venting at this point because I just don't. I don't. Unless you see, and you know when somebody's receptive to having some sort of a a really really I don't know, candid conversation. I don't find that receptivity very often, even with people that are close. So I just figured I'd ask.
True. That's true, man. And just to it's pretty fucked up. You play that clip of Elon Musk. It's just like, I don't know the fucking guy, but that's some fucked up ass shit. Having to lose your son like that, especially your firstborn, like you're depending on this fucking guy to keep the bloodline going,
Yeah, well, I know.
Yeah, it's some cruel shit, man. We live in some fucked up ass times, and just I know your talk show and this is how you make your living, Frank. I respect you, your audience or whatnot, but dude, like honestly, what the fuck do we know? Or will we ever fucking know? Like how Frank Zell said, like we don't know shit. We'll never know shit. This shit's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. I'm trying to get that quote again. It's from. It really was something else. You can tell that this really applies to so much. From Edge of Darkness, Captain Jedburgh. Anyone who looks at the rest of this is going to see that something happened, but no one is going to be able to figure it out. That's your objective, to make it so convoluted that anyone can have a theory, but no one's got the facts. So it's right. And I know what you're saying. It has to just be good enough for us to kind of understand what the goal is here, and to kind of know that a system like this does not have anybody's individual best interest in heart. And as long as you don't trust it, and as long as you have something that exists as a universal truth outside of that system, then you can go by with just general understandings of how the ways are going to go, because you're never going to know where screw A goes into nut B. And
ain't that the truth, brother?
Yeah,
ain't that the truth? Yeah, man. But it's just some fucked up ass shit, man. I mean, and in the long run, it's like we all know. I mean, we all see the writing on the fucking wall, but what are some guys like you and I gonna fucking do, Frank? You ready to grab your fucking rifle and go, or what?
Yeah. They want you to make that choice. But I'll tell you, right. It's just, it's not going to, that's the big thing here, is for most people to separate a need to defend oneself and your family and your home against everything. And then, deal with the consequences the next day. But what they would really like, the big thing here is to be able to goad people into behavior that would warrant the heavy hand of their authority to come crashing down to restore peace. That's the big thing. So it's like you can't.
Right.
That's the big trick. The big trick here is being, very, very well settled in your position to defend your personal interests to the death, no matter what, and not be goaded into acting the way that the state would love for you to act, so that they don't have to, because they don't want to.
You got to stay obedient, Frank.
Dude, they don't want to play this game too much longer either. Think about how exhausting it must be to manage this world right now. With how unruly we are all being in our own little ways across all these different countries and cultures, whatever. This must be fucking exhausting. They would probably love to just say, "Can we get to the camps already?" Because this is just too much.
Right.
But they need it. Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, some crazy shit, man.
Well, thanks for the call, Eric.
Good luck to our kids, right, in their future.
Well, we still have a couple of decades in the tank, hopefully. So that's we get
hopefully
pave the road a little bit more, and hopefully we'll all be able to have a drink at some point along the way.
That'd be cool, man. Hey, you be cool, Frank, and stay up, man.
All right,
fam.
Take care, man. There you go. There's Big Irk from the West Coast. All right, let's go. 8:46. Yeah, that's screwy. They probably don't want to play this game either. It's tiring. It's not as fun as it was in the 90s. Black tie events. Everybody is kind of mollified in their little suburban lives. Things are tranquil for the most part. That's why I don't understand what the hell. It's not like we didn't live without this power structure. Like I was talking about with Isaac Weishaupt last week. I guess you just have to put yourself into the psychopath's shoes and think bigger and think Luciferian and really think, is this really about becoming God or preparing a world for whatever entity you believe to be God? Because, damn, why would you upset what you had in the 90s? Why would you upset that? Obviously you have, Kosovo and things like that. There's always something going on. But for the most part, man, why would you upset that? When you were already perched on top of the mountain, why did this have to be completely undone, melted together? Why did the gates of hell have to be opened up in both hemispheres with the migrant crises and the war on terror being, I guess, then you say it's resources. But, even then, 9/11 was about, in many respects, establishing outposts in the Middle East and North Africa and grabbing oil and this and that. And then you realize that we have centuries worth of our own oil and stuff like that in like Alaska and shit. You're like, well, there's that. No, it's all nuts. It's all nuts. If you already ruled the world in 1999, why would you do anything? Why would you do anything? Who cares if more people were able to actually live an upper middle class life? What the hell does that matter? Anywho, they wanted our kids peeing in kitty litters. What do you want? That was just part of the plan. They needed it to happen. I don't know what the hell. All right, let's take another call. Dean, 815, go ahead.
Frankie Val.
How you doing?
What's happening, my friend?
Oh, I'm just chilling. It's almost time to go.
Yeah, I know that. Living a life myself, So I got a couple things there. First of all, we need this king with the thong issue. We need to rethink that because I don't think the world's ready for it. Love you, King, but I find you hilarious and entertaining. But just rethink it, King.
Yes.
But the second thing I got is it's always been. I think I messaged you about this, or I posted it or something, or commented on Twitter or something. I don't know. I don't remember. But my consensus has always been, Frank, that we'll be lucky if they let us have the election. And even if they do, and the desired outcome that they're looking for isn't reached, we ain't getting to Inauguration Day. That's me just, taking the 30,000-foot view and just looking at things and what these people are capable of and how they're so desperate. I mean, so desperate to the point right now they already tried to take a shot at the guy. So
yeah.
It's I'm usually I'm a pretty positive person, Frank. I'm a people person. I love people, and I don't say this to be doom and gloom. It's more of just get your mind right and think about what's going on around you, because I don't want anybody getting caught off guard because you don't know what's coming down the pipe.
I know. It's a good point.
That's the thing. It's just do what you got to do and shore things up around you and think local and take care of your family and your friends and whatever. But yeah, you don't know. I mean, my gosh, the fire, drinking out of the fire hose for 5 fucking years at this point, 40, it's just nuts. Well, you don't know what they're going to throw at you.
I was going to, and thank Dean, is that all you wanted to say? Because there's a few things I can say to that.
Yeah, for the most part, I won't keep you. I know you got calls coming in, you're trying to get out, but my main point is just situational awareness. Expand that.
That's a great way of summing it up. Situational awareness, because we don't have a lot of that. We don't see people with a lot of that right now, and I've told my friends for the last 4.5 years, do you guys have enough food? Do you have enough? I'm not talking about bags of chips and shit like that. Do you have non-perishable food? Do you have water options? Do you have communication? Just a couple of walkie-talkies, whatever the hell. Do you have a meetup plan with your family? I still don't have a very good understand. I mean, I still have to coordinate shit like that. If something goes down, where are we all meeting? And then where are we going? Who's responsible for who? I mean, those are very important things. I've been telling my personal friends like that, but we talk about your parents not wanting to listen to their son or their daughter for advice about one thing or another, or what's going on in the world, how they see it. We talked about that. Your friends are the same way. I have friends that text me, good old friends that are texting me things day in, day out. And I'm just like, yeah, we did this last night. Yes, we did. You should watch the show. I said, I still do this every night, right? Watch the show. You can even call in sometime. Nah, it's Frank. If you know the person, you don't want to fucking listen to them. So, but I've been telling them for a long time, just make sure you got some food. Just don't be the asshat that is going to be, waiting online at CVS, hoping that there's still a 12-pack of Evian water there. Is Evian even really is that even a thing still? Anyway, I understand what Dean was saying. And that's why in 2020, Frank, what do you think's going on with this election? How many times have you heard that, or you asked that somebody that you're just trying to be social with in 2020? And my one and only response was always, well, it's a matter of whether or not Donald Trump can beat whatever kind of fraud whatever kind of plan they're going to have to offset him and his campaign, and what is very, very evident is going on here. And the kind of momentum that he had in 2019, all this has been about throwing a wet blanket on top of him and creating a margin of chaos in which anything can happen. When you lock down an economy, you lock down a people, you change the way that they conduct their elections for the first time in 240 something years. It's you can see what was building up, and I was not going to be crazy enough to say it's impossible. We got this locked up. Yeah, maybe if all things were fair. Same thing in 2024. I know where the hell we're trending. I know that we've got hearts and minds, and it's not even about Donald Trump. This is just still the person who is the man in the arena at this point. But as far as hearts and minds, where we are trending away from where the psychos are trying to pull, understanding that and knowing that and seeing that is different from being also preparing yourself for the idea that there may be Kamala Harris as a president. Because it was very, very hard for us to accept. A lot of people stopped watching the show, at least for a couple of weeks, and they came back. Frank, you're very negative. The Marines can still stop, Biden from taking office, and this is not going to stand. I promise you, blah, blah, blah. I heard all that shit. I was negative, all that stuff. But hey, I'm down. I'm down for November. I understand the tactic, and the only tactic left is overwhelming the polls. I understand that. And with that, we cast our die. The die will be cast. But at the same time, I will not tell you where to put your money. At the same time, I'm not going to tell you where to go and bet the kids' college fund. Okay? So, because I'm sure that there are plenty of you out there feeling that kind of swirl of, gut-tugging emotion going on right now. And that's all I have for you tonight. So we'll do that more. We're just going to continue to let this be an open forum for people as we move through. And today, you want to talk about a slow news day. This actually was a little bit of a lull compared to what we've been dealing with the last week and a half. So should be a fun time tomorrow. Should be a fun time, very educational time on Thursday. Thursday, we're going to go deep into some biotech stuff. And then Friday, hopefully, we'll create ourselves a nice little landing pad for the weekend. with perhaps Matt and Fleckus on for Fleckus Friday. All right, that's all I have for you tonight. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody in the super chats. Nope, got everybody there. Thank you so much. Got a couple of Rumble rants that just came in. Hey, would you blow me? 2 says, rent that motorhome and get to Texas. Go to a place called Buc-ee's and get a Dr. Pepper Icy. I've got a Buc-ee's plaque over there that someone sent me. It's right by the light switch. Let me see here. Do you see it? Oh yeah. See? Right over the right shoulder. People send me stuff all the time. See? I've never been to Texas, but something in this room has, and that's good enough for me right now. Thank you, Hey, would you blow me? Let's see what else we have here. Sam Frisky says John Wilkes Booth was a patriot who killed a tyrant. And that's all we have. That's all we have there. Candelicious on quitefrankly.tv. Pilled.net, thank you. Why not? 1979 says, I'm not prepared. Well, little things. You'll be fine. Little things, and you'll be fine. Garden Girl says, feels like this has taken years to get to. We are in it now. Love you, Frank. It does feel like we're in it now, and it has taken years. You're right. Nutty. It is absolutely nutty. There you go. All right. Well, tomorrow is another day, and I can't wait to be here with you at 7 o'clock. Become a sponsor of the show. The links to all of that is in the description of the episode. There's the Patreon, the Subscribe Star, the Squarespace. That's the website. And then there is also straight through the chat room on quitefrankly.tv, powered by Foxhole. And it doesn't matter. I actually just wrote a new pen pal a love letter today. I wrote him a opening letter. We still have pen pals that are there. There's still plenty of spots for people to come in for monthly postcards, where I wrote all the postcards out today too. Those get mailed tomorrow. I got to take all the goofy Polaroids. I got to ask Aurora to come up with an idea for the pictures this month. Those go out tomorrow as well. So I would love to make any of you guys a sponsor of the show and help us bring this to new levels to all the years that are to come. So if you enjoy the show on a nightly basis, I would love to have you as a sponsor. That's all I have for you tonight. Good night. Thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Will you shut